Hi guys, welcome to this free lesson. I'm going to be talking about how to solve formulas that are like in this rational equation form, so things that look like this. So just as a reminder, pause the video and try the examples, and there are free guided notes available. So let's just jump into an example that looks like this and just kind of the standard practice. So you're going to be told a letter to solve for, so in this case we're told to solve for y. And when you look at this whole thing, so notice that this is really a fraction, and so you should kind of have like the desire to get rid of fractions whenever you're looking at equations. So this is an equation, I want to get rid of the fraction. So basically then I have to just multiply by what the LCD is. In this case, that you don't really have to think about that, you really just multiply by the denominator. So I'm going to multiply this side by 5w, and whatever I do to one side I have to do to the other, so I'm going to just do that on this side as well. So when I do that, what will end up happening is that will just cancel out the denominator on this side, so we're good to go. So now I'm going to write this as 5wz equals 3xy, and this is really the whole point of doing that technique of canceling out the denominator, because now I can see y and I can pretty easily get to it. So this is 3 times x times y, so now I just have to divide out by the stuff I don't want. And so in the end I will get the answer y equals 5wz over 3x. So now you can go ahead and pause the video and just try these two, so they're a little bit different. So just go ahead and give them a try. So for this first one, so I'm still going to do the same thing, right? So first I'm going to multiply both sides by the denominator. So let me give myself a little room here. And like I said, so first things first, I just want to multiply both sides by this denominator. So I multiply this times xz, I'm going to multiply this side times xz, and then that will cancel this part out entirely. So now what am I left with? I'm left with xzw equals z plus 2y. So now in this instance, my x actually ended up over here. So to finish this off, then I just have to divide it once again by the parts that I don't want. And so now I get x equals 7 plus 2y divided by zw. Okay, so that's it for that one. Now for this one, it's still going to be the same idea. So once again, let me give myself a little space. And once again, I'm just going to multiply by the denominator. So I just want to be a little more careful this time. So notice that I've put parentheses around this time, because you really need to make sure that this y gets distributed to all of this. So this part will happen. And so now I'm really left with this. So keep in mind that you're trying to solve for z. There's actually two ways that you can do this. So I'll actually show you both now. So first you could just distribute. So this is way one. So I distribute the y, so I get zy minus wy equals 4xw. And so now I just have to isolate the z. So I'm trying to solve for this. So I'll go ahead and add this over to the other side. I get zy equals 4xw plus wy. And then I just divide out by the part I don't want, so I just divide each part by y as shown. So in this case then, I will get z equals 4xw over y. Now notice in this second cluster that the y's here will cancel out actually, so I can just write this as plus w. Okay, so that's way one, but I do want to show you the other way, so let me just erase this real quick. Now, I will just kind of put this little golden box around here so that we want to see if we get to this answer. So the alternative faster way to do this actually would be to look at this step here. So I'm back to kind of square one. So you could actually divide by y at this step. So I could just go ahead and divide this out. Oops. Let me do this in white. So I divide both sides by y. So now my y's cancel out here, and I'm left with z minus w equals 4xw over y. And then to finish solving for z, I just add w. And so then what do you get? Well, you get literally right back to this once again. So it doesn't matter which way you want to do it, but I just wanted to point out that there are two ways. Now this next one's a little bit different. So we want to solve for x, but this has multiple fractions. So you should kind of know what the general idea with this is. If not, I'll post a link to just how we kind of work with problems like this, so you can check that out in the comments. So your spider sense should tell you that we really want to multiply everything by the LCD. And what is the LCD in this case? So it would be x, y, z. So let me just give myself a little bit of space and show what that's going to look like. So there's my problem, and now I'm just going to multiply each part by x, y, z. So you can see me doing that here. Okay, so now in looking through this, so this x will cancel out this x, this y will cancel out this y, and then this z will cancel out this z. So in the end, I'm left with 3yz plus xz equals 2xy. Now, if you're playing along at home here, you might want to just pause for a second to see if you can figure this out. So, a very common thing that people do is when they look at this, they say, okay, now I'm solving for x. So a lot of times people will just divide here by 2y. So that's actually wrong, but let me show you why it's wrong. So if I try to divide this by 2y, I'll do this in this yellow color because this just is insinuating this is wrong. So check this out. This would be my answer in this case. Can you see the issue here? The issue is that we still have an x. How can you solve for x and still have x in the answer? So this would be incorrect. So let me just erase all this. Okay, so going back to this then, what you want to do is just identify, so here's an x and here's an x. So first things first, you want to get everything with an x on the same side. So I will go ahead and subtract this. So now I have, we'll call this 2xy minus xz equals 3yz. So now notice I don't have like terms here. So how am I going to get this x by itself? Well, you'll notice that even though these aren't like terms, they do both have x in common, and so you can actually factor out x. So I can write the x here and factor this out as shown, and I get all this. And so now I can just divide out the stuff I don't want again. So now I can divide by 2y minus c, divide by 2y minus c, oops. And so in the end I get x equals 3yz over 2y minus c. There's my final answer. So that technique is the same for these next two, but this is kind of a little tricky sometimes for people, so I would highly recommend that you just pause and try these two on your own and then play when you're ready. Okay, so once again, I'm going to start by multiplying by my LCD of ABC. So let me go ahead and just set up the problem with all that written out. So now I can make my cancellations. So this A will cross out this A, this B will cross out this B, and then this C in here. So now I'm left with BC minus AC equals 3AB. And so once again, I have this situation now where I have to get the B's together. So I'll go ahead and I will bring this BC over here. So now I've got negative, actually, sorry, let me do this. 3AB minus BC equals negative AC. Okay, and so now if I factor out the B, I get 3A minus C equals negative AC. And then I can divide this out, 3A minus C and 3A minus C. So I get B equals negative AC over 3A minus C. Now, a note that I didn't say in the last one, so this does kind of depend what side you subtract on. So if you actually brought 3AB over here and maybe isolated the AC on the other side, it's possible you have the same answer, but all your signs are flipped. So the alternative of this would be if I had AC over C minus 3A, That's kind of like using the -1 trick in some ways, which I'll go ahead and I'll post a link to that in the comments if you need to refresh on that or if you've never seen that before. So these are kind of your two possible answer types. I can't speak. So let's go ahead and try the last one. Okay, so once again, so now my LCD is going to be XYZ. So let me go ahead and set this up so I can make my cancellations. Okay, so the X here will cancel out, the Y here will cancel out, the Z here will cancel out. So let's see what I'm left with. Now, in this problem, I want to solve for Z, and this one's actually nice because it's already got the Z's on the same side. So I don't have to do as much work as I did in the other problems. So now I can just go ahead and factor out my Z, and then divide by the part that I don't want. So divide this out. And so I get Z equals 7xy over 5y minus 3x. And so that'll do it for this video. So if this was helpful, please like this video, comment if you have any questions or just feedback for me. I'm trying to make this free math channel for everyone. And please share and subscribe this channel if you find it helpful. Okay guys, so I will see you next time.